What is up, fight fans? I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and my guest is a man making his octagon return after a 10-month hiatus. At UFC 253, he will face Zubaira Tukhugov. That's a tough name. Say that name two times twice, but where he will go for a fifth straight win for the first time under pandemic protocols and on Fight Island, no less. And that man, Hakeem Dawodu, Mr. Mean, sir. Thanks for the time to talk this upcoming fight.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm
Thanks for
good.
having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. You have not competed in the octagon for over 10 months, like I mentioned. Now, the pandemic, of course, I'm sure had an effect on that, but a lot of others have maybe fought multiple times in some instances. Was the extended time away something done on purpose for personal reasons? Was it just difficulty booking fights? Was it a mix of all that, or was it something entirely different, maybe like an injury?
No, man, it was just, after New York, I took care of a few injuries, and then the pandemic hit, I was trying to get a fight booked, and this is just like, the closest one that got booked after all the crazy.
And I've heard talked to a lot of fighters, and they talked about the booking difficulties and stuff like that. Was there any specific reason that was a problem for you? Like I remember talking to Benil Dariush, and he's on a winning streak too. He was like, no one seemed to want to fight him. They just didn't want the matchup. Was it something similar like that, or just like people kept getting booked and the division's just tough that way?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it played out with me. Some people didn't want to fight me, and I wanted a good name, a good opponent, because I feel like I deserve it. I'm on a winning spree, so this is just kind of how it played out.
And talk about what's going on right now, how you're winning, the streak you're on, and stuff like that. You've won four straight, like I mentioned, yet you still haven't gotten a spot in the rankings. Guys like Jose Aldo, who may not even be a featherweight anymore, and Edson Barboza, who lost his one fight in the class, are taking up spots in the top 15. Does that bother you at all? Do you just chalk it up to how talent rich the division is? Or do you feel like you haven't given the UFC enough reason to give you a ranking yet?
No, it cheeses me for sure. But after this fight, I'm gonna make sure I get a top 15 right after that, and I start making a ranking and getting that world spot. And now that fights are rolling again, I plan to be fighting every 3 months.
And talking about getting a top 15 ranking and then the booking thing, is that part of the frustration of not only being out so long? Like, you're not getting a ranked guy. Like, you have more than enough reason to deserve a ranked opponent. Is it a little frustrating in a way that you're not still getting a ranked guy?
It was frustrating. I asked for a top 10, top 15, and then they gave me this dude, but they promised me once I get through this dude, they're gonna give me a top 10. So I'm gonna rip through this dude, and then after this, they can no longer deny it for me.
Tukhugov is not the kind of Russian fans have seen a lot lately. And, being a grinding wrestler, the Dagestani type that everybody's coming familiar with, he likes to strike and he's pretty good at it. Would it be safe to say he's the most technical, maybe dangerous striker you have faced yet in your career? Or do you feel you face better than him and when it comes to the stand-up game?
No, his stand up is, very, very average, like average for MMA. For boxing and kickboxing, it's, not even ranked. But, he's a good wrestler, you know what I mean? So I expect him to shoot. I expect him to wrestle me hard, and we prepared for that. And, I'm looking to put this guy away.
You're a very good striker, during your career. You've proven that. Why do you feel his striking is amateur, not very good for MMA, and even less so in kickboxing? What is he doing that isn't really up to snuff, especially for you and especially for this level?
He's just like anybody. He's just an average striker. Like he's got no striking credentials. You watch his strikes; it's basic. Not dissing the dude. He's not really a striker. He's more of a wrestler. And in this sport, you got to respect everybody. You know what I mean? I respect his power. I respect I respect his wrestling. But like I'm a WMC world champion Muay Thai kickboxer. You know what I mean? It's just he's just an average striker. It's nothing personal. It's not being disrespectful. It's just the truth.
In his last fight with Aguiar, Dominic Cruz, during the broadcast on the announce team, suggested that the reason he had trouble and lost to Moicano a couple fights before that was because he got pressured in that fight. Would you agree with that idea, that he doesn't like pressure? And is it something you want to test out on the 26th? Or do you feel pressuring might be bad because if he's a good wrestler, that goes right into possible shots?
I'm gonna bring the fight to him, and I'm looking to put him away. You know what I mean? I'm prepared, and no matter where this fight goes, whether I'm pressuring him, whether I'm counter striking him, I'm ready to put this guy away no matter what. So I think he likes to fade. I don't think he has the best gas tank. I know he's been popped before for substance abuse. Maybe that has something to do with it. But I'm in tip top shape. I've always been in tip top shape. I'm gonna push the pace, and I'm gonna make sure he has to fight. And once I see him start to fade, that's when I'm gonna look for the finish.
This fight will be on Fight Island, your first fight under pandemic protocols. Have you done any like advanced planning, got advice from teammates or friends in the industry that have maybe been to Fight Island or have had to fight during this new, no fans audiences? And is fighting on Yaz Island something you were hoping would happen eventually?
Yeah, man. To me, it's just another fight. You know what I mean? With the no audience, everyone's like, "How you gonna, feel with no audience?" It's no different than my early amateur, kickboxing careers when you're fighting in community centers and nobody's there. So this is fight number 80 for me. You know what I mean in career total. So there's nothing I haven't experienced yet. I'm just focusing on the fight. As long as the pay's the same, I'm happy, and I'm gonna put on a show, and I'm gonna put this guy away.
If you get the W on the 26th, do you have a preference for what comes next? 5 in a row has to finally get a ranked opponent, has to maybe get a top 10 guy. For me, matchups with like Julio Arce, your last opponent, his teammate Shane Burgos, or Sadiq Youssef seem like very fun, fan friendly, and also divisional relevant matchups. Do either of those interest you, or do you have someone else like maybe Barboza and his more established name in mind for your next fight if you win?
To be honest with you, anybody in the top 10, I don't shy away from nobody. I don't really, I got my eyes on a few people, but, I just take it one fight at a time. But anybody in that top 10 can get it. I'm not scared to fight anybody. I'm ready to take on the division and make my title run. So anybody that's ranked, I'm just going to climb my way to the top and take them out one by one till they can't deny me.